Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Dale Barzi. As always, if you like what you see and hear, give us a like, subscribe. We're interested in your comments. So today, my guest is Ekemini Emah. And Ekemini is a registered nurse, an Airforce nurse, and a doctoral student. Am I correct?
Yes.
So welcome, Ekemini. How are you?
Thank you very much. I am well. I am doing well. Thank you.
And thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us today. I really, really do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
So I always want to know what made people become nurses. So why are you a nurse? Who inspired you? What inspired you?
Do you want the long story or the short story?
Give me the story you want to give.
Okay. So first off, my mom is a nurse.
Okay.
And I wasn't one of those people that said, okay, my mom is a nurse, I'm going to go on to be a nurse. But it just, from my mentor, I knew I wanted to get into healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be an architect, but I think it was in 2004 or so where the market was basically not too good.
Yeah.
So my mentor said, you should look into healthcare. They'll always need people in healthcare. So that stuck in my head, but that wasn't, why I said, okay, for sure, I want to be a nurse. But when I went I was trying to skip a grade from 10th grade to 12th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to take English 11 at night school.
Yeah.
And so I can skip a grade the next year.
Yeah.
So when I went there to night school, they were asking people, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And so a girl in the class said, I want to be a nurse. It's so easy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that part, when she said it was easy, yeah, she kind of tricked me into it. So I thought, okay, my mentor had talked about this, and here's another girl telling me it's easy. I guess my mom is doing it. So yeah. So
what's her prediction, right? As far as you're concerned, is it?
No, it was not. It was far from correct. Yeah, I'd say that. But I know. I'm glad she told me it was easy, because if she told me it was hard, I probably would not have done it. So.
And so you became a nurse in Virginia.
Yes. So I went to school in Shenandoah University and graduated for a BSN degree. So yes, I went on to become a nurse.
Okay. All right. And so were there any challenges doing that?
Of course. So let me first say, during my study to become a nurse, I first went to a community college.
Okay.
And so it was supposed to be a 2-year program. You get the ADN, I believe.
The ADN, yes, the associates, yeah.
So the first challenge was that my first nursing class, I did not pass it.
Okay.
So while waiting to reapply the next year, I went ahead and took microbiology. And when I was in microbiology, that's when another friend of mine told me about Shenandoah University that didn't have any waiting students, like waiting.
Yeah, you were on a waiting list.
Yes, to get in. So that's how I moved on from, ADN to BSN.
To BSN, yeah. Awesome. And so you ended up in the Air Force.
I did. So my best friend in college, we were supposed to join the Air Force together after college. And so she had a job. And so I gave myself from up until August, because I graduated in May, until August to find a permanent job. And if I didn't find a job, I was going to join the Air Force. And so I did not find a permanent job. So
of all the military branches, so why the Air Force?
My brother was in the Navy, And I kind of told him a little bit about my interest in the military, and he told me to join the Air Force.
That's interesting. Because, you know, typically they have a, you know, a kind of a little friendly adversarial kind of relationship. So it's interesting that he would send you, to join the Air Force.
If he said it and he was in already, I mean, yeah, my answer was there.
So you always had some leanings toward the military though?
In my immediate family, he's the first person that I know in the military. So it was kind of like when he came back from many of his tours or duty station, I'll just like put on his hat and kind of like play around to see. And I felt like, okay, this could be something that I can do. But yeah. And when I talked it over with my best friend, you know, leading up to then, I was like, okay, I can do this.
And so how do you think that the discipline of the military helps you at all in your nursing?
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would say. Just being attention to details, like is paramount in the military. And so that I can say, if not anything else that I've learned, that in and of itself is something that I have used to practice in my nursing career.
Yeah, because with both of those things, you really do need attention to detail. Yes, absolutely. So in what areas have you worked on? What is your current specialty?
So I consider myself an ambulatory nurse, care nurse, and I have worked in surgical inpatient. I've worked in PACU. That was my favorite spot. And then I did a little bit of disease management. And of course, being in the military, you work with transporting patients, you know, basically staging them for airlift.
And of all those areas, where would you like to be?
Oh, and I missed one, actually, where I work now in flight medicine. Basically taking care of the flyers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you are now a doctoral student.
I am.
Okay. So what pushed you to go that way? What at the end of this? What are you doing?
At the end of my doctoral studies, I see myself contributing in the managerial aspect or the business aspect of healthcare.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I wanted to balance with the clinical and the business aspect of healthcare.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that brings me to a question that I typically want to ask nurses. And the thing is, I want to know, where do they see nurses? Where do you see nurses and nursing in the future going forward?
First of all, the shortage in nursing is a very big thing now. It's always been nursing shortage. So how do we mitigate things that affect nurses in order to retain them? It's an area that we can look into. What are some things that are pertaining to nursing that can help our mental being, our physical being when we're working with patients? Because nursing, as I have come to see, has been a very stressful job. It's very stressful. And so how do I give my nurses ways to decompress? How can they better their health, mental health, physical health, things like that?
Okay. All right. because and so now you touched on two things that I really want to talk about. But the first thing that you talked about is, you know, how we address staff shortages and all of that kind of thing. Do you think that as nurses, we have enough input into how things shape up for nurses?
Short answer, no. At some point, it kind of feels like the people who are in the trenches, I should say, are not the ones making the decisions.
That's
and
true.
So for me, being a doctoral student and bringing that aspect of clinical, I know where this is. I know what is happening in the trenches, and I can merge that to make sure that people's voices are heard, and the things that they need are given to them.
Yes, yes.
So that they can be able to perform.
Yes, I really, that is one of the things that I really do believe very deeply, is that, you know, we are not being heard enough. And it could be our own fault, actually. Maybe we are not putting the effort into making our voices heard. We put a lot of effort into care and care of others and all of that, but we're not putting enough effort, I believe, into making our voices heard and making sure that we get what we need, A, to do the job, and B, to survive and thrive while doing it.
Right.
That's just,
I agree with that. And I feel like we think of nursing as, we think only of the sacrifice part of where you have to give and give and give and give. But if you don't have anything else to give, then the patient suffers too.
Absolutely.
And you also, as a nurse, the caregiver, you're suffering. And so.
Yes, I know. And so as you were talking about that, and you know, because I always also then go on to ask people about their own care, you know, self-care. What does it mean to you? I realize in talking to people, self-care means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So what does it mean to you?
Self-care, my favorite part. So what I do for self-care, I get massages. That's my thing. I just want to relax. I just want to not think about anything. I am a homebody, so being in my own space and just enjoying my own presence is how I get to relax.
Yeah, that's a really awesome thing you said, actually, enjoying your own presence, because very often people don't seem to think that they can enjoy their own self by themselves. So for me, that's a big thing.
Some people get energy from, you know, interacting with people. Interacting with people for me is draining. So I have to recharge somehow.
Yeah, I get it. Absolutely. So, Ekemini, what would you say is your greatest achievement as a nurse so far?
When I think there's so many achievements that you can have in nursing, and when I think about what has impacted my nursing career, I think about the care aspect that you give to patients. And one of my diabetes patient is just seeing the turnaround, seeing them come from a place where they were vulnerable and speaking to you, and then you talk to them, you interact with them, you give them the plan, devising a plan for the patient, for self-care, empowering them. And after a few weeks, you have a turnaround in their care. They're coming, you know, they're excited to show you their results. That to me. Is
yeah,
my achievement in nursing.
I get it. I get it. I get it. So I've been collecting these words now as I speak to people. So I want yours. I want to know if you just had one word to describe the most essential quality of a nurse, what would it be?
Huh. I'm going to use the word versatility.
Versatility, okay.
Yes. You can be a nurse, you can be anything else. You can be the planner, the
Planner, the
caregiver.
implementer, the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Your word is versatility, and that's true, it fits. It fits. It absolutely fits, yes. So what would you tell someone who wants to be a nurse, who's considering being a nurse?
It's easy.
Actually say that with a straight face.
Oh man. Well, you can make it easy. It is demanding. It's difficult sometimes, but it's very rewarding. So
yeah. That's, you know what, that really is the thing of it. As difficult as it is, as difficult as it can be, the rewards on the other side are just as great, you know.
Definitely.
So I absolutely agree with you that, yeah. I think I would have to say, you know, make sure you know what you want to do, but if you want to do it, you can do it, you know, and you can do it, but you have to want to, you have to be the person who really wants this.
Definitely.
Speaking of that, do you think that it's a lifelong thing?
It is. It is because you mean for me or for anybody?
Well, to be a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
do you think it's a lifelong thing?
It is in some aspect. You have people who've been bedside nurses for 45 years, 50 years, whatever the case. But as a nurse, you contribute in so many different ways. So whether it be bedside, in the managerial section, in the leadership section, executive section, you can contribute in any way as a nurse. And your basis comes from you being a nurse. So,
yeah. You have to recognize that you develop these qualities and these skills and these things that sometimes you take outside of this profession and feel like you're still doing it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I for me, I think it's a life. In fact, I just think it's a state of mind. Really, I don't even think of it as a job. It's just a state of mind.
Yes.
But yeah. So you massage and all of this for self-care. Where do you see Ekemini 30 years from now? 20, 30, all right, 10.
10. Well, I'll be newly retired if I am still in the Air Force. I have about 9 more years to go. So, like I said, just leading in that managerial or, yes, I am going to go back into working. So, and whether it's getting my nurses' voices heard in an executive manner. Yeah, that's where I see myself for now.
Yeah, and so you and I meant to mention earlier that you being in the Air Force, you ended up in Germany as well.
I did.
So it's a different cultural scene. How did that work for you? How did you, transition? Was it easy? Was it difficult? I know you're probably on a base that probably feels kind of American, but how's that?
I like to experience different cultures. And so before here, I was in Korea. So that was another cultural experience. I've been here for about a year and 9 months now. So just experiencing a different culture. That was one of my goals growing up, to live somewhere, in some other country, other countries, plural, and experience life in other people's environment. And so the Air Force has afforded me that opportunity, and I'm grateful.
Okay. So let us say, so what would you say then are the differences? Let us say in patient expectation, like between the US, Korea, Germany. Are there any differences that you notice?
So we mostly take care of Americans. So I can't really speak to the care that is given in the other, in the economy, as we call it here. Yeah, we only take care of Americans.
Yeah. I should have realized that. But I think one of the things I really want to know, actually, maybe I phrased that incorrectly though. What I really want to know is how does the public see you as a nurse? Do you get the same, for example, I've worked in the United States, I've worked in the Caribbean, I've worked in the United Kingdom.
Okay.
I find working in the Caribbean, for example, people are extremely respectful of nurses. You're like up here. In the United Kingdom, maybe it drops a bit and you're like here. In the United States, I'm sorry, no one cares.
Well,
I think that's really what I wanted to know. Do people accord you the same kind of
I would say it's more to the equivalent of nursing in the US. But of course, I am in the military first, so that's mostly what they see. So the nursing aspect is like an additional.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, actually it does. Actually,
okay.
It does. I just I wonder, as you go around to different areas, different cultures, different people, how they are used to seeing. I mentioned being in the Caribbean, for example. If you're working as a nurse in the Caribbean, all of a sudden, nurse precedes your name. They don't refer to you as Mrs. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so. There's just nurse so-and-so.
That is true. In reference to other cultures, as my mom was a nurse, I should say. So I have, kind of experienced a little bit of that, even though I wasn't really paying attention. But yeah, there is that nurse, this person, nurse, this person. So yeah, in Nigeria, which is my hometown.
Ekemini.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
First, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. And I love nursing. And I want to do more for nursing and be a part of the people, one of the people that takes the mantle and move on with nursing and get nursing up there in the level where it is in the UK, in other cultures. So yeah.
All right.
So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so very, very much for agreeing to speak to us today.
My pleasure.